Let's bring in Blaine Fowler now, BYU national champion, dual sport analyst on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Happy Black Friday, Blaine.
What's up, boys? You know, I was so pumped, and I've been trying to get this tryptophan out of my system from yesterday, and then you guys put me on hold, and I listened to orchestra music for 2 minutes, and now I'm exhausted. I feel like I should lay down and take a nap.
We have orchestra music as our wait time music?
Is it classical? Is it classical 89?
It was classical orchestra. I don't know. I needed a little Warren G or something, and you gave me classical. I don't know what was going on.
This is Brigham, dude. Ain't no Warren G coming down the line.
I was like, it was regulators. That's what I was waiting for. It was regulators.
Regulators.
Mount up.
Mount up. Yeah.
You gotta be handy with a steel, if you know what I mean. You know.
1994 rap is awesome. Hey, hey, Blaine, what are you doing on Black Friday, man? How's the shopping going?
Oh, you will not find me anywhere near any store. Like, I will stay within 5 miles of any store, unless it's 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. That's about it. So the girls are going to go do a little shopping, and good for them. The boys are going to go down to the indoor facility, and Gavin, working on his knee, is going to do some covering of his brothers, and I'm going to throw some balls around today.
Nice.
So.
What an appropriate way to spend a Black Friday.
Yes.
Let's ask you our Twitter question today. What will Monday's headline be on BYU Sports Nation after the weekend?
It's going to be BYU with 2 big victories over the weekend in the 2 major sports, basketball and football. What does it mean? So there you go.
And you're right. They are 2 big games for BYU. We've been talking about the significance of the Utah State game. BYU wants to exceed the 8 wins of the last 3 years. You don't want a losing streak to Utah State and so on and so forth. But what, in your opinion, is the significance of this game with Utah State?
I think that, there's not that many in-state games the last couple of years because they're not playing Utah. Now, I know that gets fixed next year, but this is your only in-state rival that you get to play this year. And you have to win that game. And I think that the goal for these kids in their minds when they lost that Missouri game was, well, we got to get enough wins to get to double digits. That's the new goal, and you can't get to any of that without this win on Saturday tomorrow.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, dual threat analyst for us, national champion. How does BYU win this game against the Aggies tomorrow?
Well, what they can't do is they can't turn the ball over. I mean, that's the key. This Aggie football team is pretty good defensively. You're not quite as athletic as, say, Missouri is on the defensive side of the ball. They've struggled offensively, and if Kent Meyers isn't healthy, I just don't know how good Utah State's going to be offensively, but they're going to be solid on defense, and they're going to play with a tremendous amount of passion. So BYU's got to match that passion, but they got to take care of the ball. If they're -2 in turnover margin on the road up there and get those fans going, they're going to struggle. They just have to take care of the football.
Yeah, Blaine, it reminds me of Missouri quite a bit, where BYU had some big plays that were turnovers that would have been turnovers, had BYU not had flags and third down stops and that kind of thing. Does it feel like Missouri at all to you in that, there's questions about Utah State's offense and they have a solid defense?
Eerily similar, except for when we were talking about Missouri going in, they were like 125th in the nation in total offense and 127th in scoring offense. Utah State is 60th in scoring offense, and they're 97th in total offense. They struggled to throw the football with inconsistency at quarterback. But I think defensively they're eerily similar, and they may be a little bit better on offense. And so, yeah, it's scary. And if BYU allows big plays because of turnovers, and they provide Utah State with short fields because of turnovers, that's the thing that can really kill you in a ball game, because BYU should win this football game. If you look at every position on the field and take it into balance, they have more talent than Utah State does. They should win the ball game, but turnovers are the great equalizer, especially on the road.
Follow him at BFowler16 on the Twitter machine. Blaine Fowler with us. There is a question of who will start as quarterback for Utah State. How do things change if it's Kent Meyers or Chucky Keeton?
And they're both pretty dynamic with their feet. Chucky's maybe a little more, plays off the cuff, just going to go make a play, and so you've got to be really careful to account for him, because I think his best play is when he's outside the pocket and running around. But the reason they've gone with Meyers is because he's taking care of the football better. We come back to this whole turnover thing. Meyers, 14 touchdown passes, just 3 interceptions. where Chucky struggled to take care of it. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not a very good ratio. So I think if Utah State had their way, and it's crazy that I'm saying this, they hope that shoulder's okay and that Meyers is going to be able to play, because that gives them the best chance to win. And it is a shame, because Chucky, before all of the injuries, was one of the best talents in the country, let alone the state of Utah. And I think he's just been beaten down by injuries. And I hate that, because he's such a good kid and has been such a good representative of the state and of Utah State. But the bottom line is he hasn't been confident. He's been turning the ball over, and Meyers has been more consistent when he's been in there.
The game high temperature should be in the 30s. What impact does that have on the game, other than Spencer Linton wearing more on the sideline?
Yeah, Spencer layers is all I have to say to
Holy
you.
cow.
And fleece is good. And this new material, Minky, is a lot softer, but it's not quite as warm. That's just my advice to
Wait,
you. But,
Minky?
yeah, Minky is like a soft kind of, but I'm sure it's appropriate for tomorrow. That's better for pajamas. That's what I'm saying. So, but the cold, it affects the passing game a little bit. Primarily the quarterback. It's harder to grip the ball. The ball's a little harder. For the receivers, with the gloves and things that people wear, and with the stuff they have on the sidelines to keep you warm, it's not as bad as it would seem. It's worse if it's cold and wet. Like, you look at that Green Bay game last night. That's just miserable.
Oh, ugly. Yeah.
That's just miserable. And so cold and wet is devastating to offenses. Just cold, you can deal with that. You can put enough clothes on, and you can keep warm on the bench, and they rotate balls in. It has a little tiny effect on the quarterbacks. Outside of that, I don't think it has a big impact. If you get moisture or you get significant wind, now it starts to affect the offenses in a big way. But I think we're just plain old cold tomorrow, and I think it'll be fine.
BYU's defense has been pretty good over the last 4 games, only allowing 13 per game in that span. How many points will Utah State score against BYU tomorrow?
I think that's probably pretty close, 13 or 14 points. Now, the caveat to that is what we talked about when we started out, and that is do they turn the ball over and get them short fields? That's how Utah State scores more points. Now, they've been averaging almost 30 a game, but I think that this BYU defense has been really solid, and even when they've given up some yardage, they've been great at managing points. So I think 13 or 14 without turnovers is a pretty solid number. But if you give them a 30-yard field a couple of times, that changes. Then they get up closer to their average. So, yeah, taking care of it. I mean, I don't know how much I can emphasize this.
Would you say turnovers are a big theme in this game, Blaine?
I would say number one. Maybe you guys have felt that from this conversation. Number one.
Which team is more desperate for a win this weekend? BYU football against Utah State or basketball against Belmont?
Oh, God. I think they're both desperate.
That wasn't the question.
I know. I think that BYU really, really feels strongly. The kids feel strongly. They've got to win this Utah State football game to accomplish their goals. And so maybe not quite as devastating if BYU basketball loses, because we have a lot of questions right now about BYU offensively on the basketball team. They just don't seem to be in a flow. The guys don't seem to understand, where their shots come. There's some things they really need to improve on. But it's so early in the season that it's not a devastating loss if they lose to Belmont, who's a highly respected program that's been to postseason 9 of the last 10 years and 7 NCAA tournaments and 20-plus wins. But that's not as devastating to lose to them when you're trying to figure yourself out. So I think the football team is in a position where they're more of a have-to-win situation. But I think BYU basketball's feeling the pressure to get things put together.
Dave Rose said that it was his fault that the game against Mississippi Valley State was as close as it was because he left his second-string guys in for a long time, thinking that they would battle through and kind of pull away. That didn't happen, so the starters had to go back in late. How much concern do you have right now with the current status of BYU, given that they only beat Mississippi Valley State, a bad team, by 7?
Yeah, I was glad to hear Dave say that, because momentum is such a big thing in college basketball, and they were a big time on a roll to start that basketball game, and then you take them out, and then the momentum shifts the other way, and Mississippi Valley State gets confidence, and they all of a sudden thinking, hey, we can hang with these guys, and it doesn't matter that you put those guys back in, the momentum's gone. and it's a hard thing to regain in a basketball game. So I'm not as concerned about the Mississippi Valley State game. What I'm concerned of is the body of work already in two areas, really: three-point shooting and turnovers. This team's averaging almost 17 turnovers a game. They need to start getting that down in that 11 or 12 range on an average basis per game. That's really important if they're going to have the kind of success they should with this talent. And then they got to stop hunting for threes. This is a team that has an inside presence. So those threes, they don't need to shoot as many. They don't need to just take them off the dribble. And Dave said this last week, Dave Rose. They need to go inside out, and when those threes come in the offense from inside out, that percentage is going to go up from 28%. This team needs to shoot in the mid-30s from three, and I feel like they're forcing some threes up that they don't need to. If they can take care of those two things, I'm actually impressed with the way they've played team defense. I think this can be a really good team, but those are two areas that I've been concerned with, and I think they're fixable.
Yeah, and BYU leads the country in total rebounds right now in college basketball. They're third in field goal defense, so they're playing good defense. And Chase Fisher, I have some concerns so far with Chase because he's a fantastic player, was 10th in the country and made threes last year. But right now, you mentioned shooting the mid-30s. BYU as a team shooting 28%, and then you look at Chase Fisher shooting 24% from three. What does he need to alter a little bit to get more in the game for BYU?
So what you do when you're not knocking down shots and you're a shooter is you quit hunting for that deep three. And he's very capable and athletic at taking the ball to the basket. And you start working your way inside out again. So you don't settle for the three. You drive to the basket. You get to the free throw line where he can be solid. You start getting some rhythm to your game again. And you gradually work your way out to mid-range and then back out to the three. And then you don't go hunt threes off the dribble. You let those threes come to you in the offense. When he's making threes, it's when he's set on that three-point line. He's squared up to the bucket. The ball's inside with Bronson or Kyle, and it gets kicked back out when he's in a great position and he goes straight up with the ball. Those are the kinds of threes I want to see him continue to take, and he'll eventually shoot himself out of this. But it starts with not settling for those and hunting for those to keep seeing what's going on. Go attack, get to the free throw line, start making a bunch of baskets from the free throw line, and work your way back out. And I have confidence that he's a good enough shooter with good mechanics that it'll eventually come back to him.
Blaine, what's more likely to happen tomorrow, a Devon Blackmon touchdown catch against Utah State or a Kyle Collinsworth triple-double?
Oh, gosh. I'm rooting for Kyle to get another triple-double, and that's going to come this year. We know that. But poor Devon, that guy needs to have a touchdown for Pete's sakes before he gets out of here. So my rooting interest is I'd rather see Blackmon get a touchdown because he can't leave here without it. I'm confident Kyle's going to get his deal before the season's over. So let's root for Blackmon to get a TD.
6 more catches for Devon, and he owns a distinction you don't want to have, which is the most catches in BYU history without a TD catch. He's 6 away.
He's got to get one tomorrow. Come on, everybody's got to, we got to root for him and say a prayer and do everything. The guy's he can't leave here without a touchdown. It's just not right.
BYU Sports
Say
Nation.
a prayer for Devon.
BYU Sports Nation fast for Devon to get a touchdown.
Wait,
Text Bob and I.
Who was it that gave the prayer at the fireside at the Nebraska game? Was it Devon?
It was Devon. It was Devon.
Maybe they should have him give the prayer tonight or something. They got to do something. And instead of just saying, hey, bless us to win, which caught us all off guard, but it obviously worked, maybe he needs to just come right out and say, and please, can I just have one touchdown before I leave this place? Something has to happen.
He said, bless us to win in Lincoln?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yes, he said, help us to win.
Help us to win.
Yeah, bless us to win.
He did.
I don't know. Whatever it was, it was good. So maybe we need to pull some big stops out to get him into the end zone because the kid's worked so hard, and he's, I think BYU's been a good place for him. I think he's changed his life while he's been here, which is fantastic. He's going to go away here a better young man. But he's got to get a touchdown. With all he's gone through and the way he's contributed and the changes he's made to fit in and all that, gosh, let's get that guy a touchdown before he leaves. Amen. I'm rooting for him big time.
Blaine, great stuff on Black Friday. Enjoy throwing the football around with your boys, man.
All right, we'll see if the old shoulder can hold up. So, and we'll see you guys early tomorrow morning. Get ready for a long day of football and basketball with you guys.
You got it. Thanks, Blaine.
Okay, see you guys.